Hello, folks, and to those of you still on summer vacation, I hope you're enjoying your last couple of days or so of summer break and are about ready and are ready enough to get back in the swing of things pretty soon. But in the meantime, I want to present to y'all my next episode of Album Rant, and I'm, going to go back to hard rock band that originated in Illinois back in the late 60s called REO Speedwagon. And I'm going to tackle today their third studio released in 1973 entitled Ridin the Storm Out. And that right there is the album right there, and you can see it's been through a lot of wear and tear. So I'm going to make the logical assumption that this is an original press, and it was actually released back in the 70s, so there we have that. So as I usually do, I'm going to go a little bit backwards and catch you all up to speed as to how we arrived at this particular album. And at least in the initial days, the band was formed by pianist or organist Neal Doughty. And he was later joined by drummer Gratzer, and they went through a very long revolving door of band members and lineup changes. And I kind of told the story in a previous episode, so I'm not going to dwell on that too much. But eventually they found a guitarist by the name of Richrath, and by that point in 1971, they released their very first album, simply entitled REO Speedwagon. And the lineup for that album was Terry Luttrell on lead vocals, I think I'm saying that correctly, Gary Richrath on lead guitar, Gregg Philbin on bass guitar, Gratzer on the drums, and then Neal Doughty on the keyboards. And I really liked that very first REO Speedwagon album. It has some of my favorite songs ever, such as Gypsy Woman Passion, 157 Riverside Avenue, which is still performed by was performed by the band up until pretty much the point where the band folded just recently. We had Anti-Establishment Man. We had Lay Me Down, Sophisticated Lady, 5 Men Were Killed Today, Prison Women, and then the mighty, progressive, almost psychedelically based Dead at Last, which was a great album closer. Many people do not know about it. Please check it out. I am begging you. So that was the debut album. And unfortunately, Terry only lasted for one album, and he was pretty much out and not seen or heard from again, at least in REO Speedwagon. And in 1972, he was replaced by Kevin Cronin. Yes, that Kevin Cronin, who basically overtook the band in the mid-80s and has essentially retitled it today the Kevin Cronin Solo Band. Well, at least now he's being honest. But the album that came out in 1972 was called REO/TWO. I'm not sure why they would call it that. That's a little confusing, a little awkward, but whatever. The album itself was great, and I have reviewed that before a few months ago, and it has some of my all-time favorite REO Speedwagon songs, such as Let Me Ride, How the Story Goes, a cover of Chuck Berry's Little Queenie, Being Kind Can Hurt Someone Sometime, which is amazing, by the way. We had Music Man, very upbeat rocker, Like You Do, Flash Tan Queen, and the mighty, very political yet awesome Golden Country. And again, guys, I did review that. I think it was episode 108, I want to say, so please check it out. However, unfortunately, Kevin Cronin allegedly missed a lot of rehearsals and was eventually ejected from the band. And so in 1973, they put out their third album and their third lead vocalist in 3 albums in 3 years, and his name was Mike Murphy, and he is, well, right there actually. And yeah, he's a funny-looking guy, but we'll get to that later. And again, the album was entitled Ridin the Storm Out, and that's what I'm going to be reviewing tonight. So, unfortunately, this record sleeve is about to break, actually, and there's nothing really on the inside aside from a record, so I won't really bore you with that. But here is the band right there, and there's the lineup, okay? Mike is right there. That's Alan. That's Gregg. Gary, and Neal right there. The one member who stayed with the band till the very end is right there. So we got some credits on the bottom, and this is going to be a little weird, so we'll just try our best. But yeah, I think I got side one in frame right there, and yeah. It all begins with the title track entitled Ridin' the Storm Out, which is one of the most recognizable and iconic REO Speedwagon songs of all time. It is on classic rock radio frequently, almost every day pretty much. And if you ever see REO Speedwagon in concert, at least since 2008, that is typically the song that closes out the concert. And like I said, it is very, very recognizable. All right. I just said it was a very iconic title track. However, guys, if you were expecting a slick, hard-rocking anthem, as we are so accustomed to, well, you're going to be very surprised and maybe disappointed because this is the studio version, and it is very much not the same genre as the live version, which is the most popular version, which has Kevin Cronin on lead vocals. Now, this one is really more of a blues-based boogie song, which may be a turnoff for some people, but other people really like that, so that's really fine. But the song itself is in reference to surviving a real-life blizzard that the band apparently had to experience. All right. And yeah, it does begin with the synthesizer, I tried my best there. You know what I'm talking about. And the synthesizer itself is a lot more aggressive than the live version gives us. However, after that's over and all is said and done, the song is really a lot slower, and it's going to come to a shock at some. Another thing that's noteworthy, at least, is Mike Murphy was a very different type of vocalist than Kevin Cronin. Mike has a very raspy voice, and some may find it a little bit whiny. I did at first. I've kind of warmed up to it. But that could be a turnoff for some people. However, there are those who prefer them to Cronin, so decide for yourself. Well, anyways, the song itself does keep the very same format as the much more well-known live version, and still has a pretty electric guitar solo in the middle by Gary. And by the way, Gary is really top-notch. He is really giving it his all on this album, which is very highly appreciated. As I said, I'm not trying to impugn Mike or anything. I just really prefer Kevin. But, yeah, like I said, the song is a lot slower, and it's much more bluesed and boogie-based than the more anthemic live version. So just understand, this is the kind of song it is, and there's actually a piano in the background that you can very, very much hear. And that's another interesting touch to those who might be expecting something a little bit different. Now, one thing I also really love is towards the end, the live version does conclude with a really electric guitar solo, and that guitar solo is still there. However, the song doesn't actually have a definite ending. It just kind of fades out at the end, and that's, the guitar solo had me. I wish they kind of finished it, but it's all right, okay? Decent song, decent track. I really like it. So that was track number 1. That was written by Gary, by the way. Track 2 was written by Gary also. It's called Whiskey Night. Now, apparently Joe Walsh, yes, that Joe Walsh from the Eagles makes a guest appearance on this song. And apparently he plays the opening guitar riff, which, for as much as I have, not enjoyed the Eagles too much, I love the opening guitar to this song. It's like, wow, 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 wow. It's really groovy, and it's very bluesy, but it's also electric, and I love it, okay? So, yeah, I am going to, give some props to the Eagles, or at least Joe Walsh in this situation. But, yeah, like I said, the whole song is just dripping with sleaze, which I love. This is, again, another blues-based song backed up by some incredibly strong instrumentation from Richrath and Doughty. And it's a lot slower than the title track, but I gotta say, the song is great and beyond underrated. Now, my eyes are aching from the weight on them, the pain of living in search of more. To make you happy, I must bear for you. I can't take it anymore. Now, there are a few more verses or stanzas, so I'm not going to kind of bore you with that, but the chorus I actually do really like. And all the morning birds may laugh at me, but they've got the same strange job to do. I can't see who is the biggest fool of all, with my eyes all scarred from the whiskey night. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. I think that is just so incredibly catchy. The album version, not my version, keep in mind, you. But yeah, I mean, it's a great REO Speedwagon song. I'm gonna kind of be mentioning this a lot going forward, but they have these backup female vocalists on this album, and sometimes, and I will get to this, I don't think it fully works all that well, but it really does work well here, so props to the whole band and everyone involved on this one. There's a very slow bass but bluesy interlude with some more phenomenal guitar work by Richrath. And there's also a huge synthesizer solo or organ solo, which plays a huge role in the mood and energy of the song. And guys, this song needs to be more highly appreciated. It's great, and it's unfortunate it does not get the recognition it deserves. It hits so many high points and hits them well. The song does fade out as before. I'm not a huge fan of the fade out, but it's okay. But yeah, Whiskey Night. If you have not checked that one out, please do. It's a great song. Next, we come to Oh Woman. And this song is also written by Richrath, and it's another boogie song. It's much faster, but not quite as dark and aggressive. And this is something I do take a little issue with the album because TWO, I'm trying to say, TWO was easily the most hard-hitting album they had done at the time. It was a very aggressive rock album. And this album just really seems to scale things back a bit. It doesn't seem to be quite as hard-hitting as TWO was. I'm not sure if that's due to Murphy's influence or it was a band decision. I don't know, but it's just something I've noticed. But as for the lyrical approach, I think it reeks of desperation. You be the judge on this one. My whole life rides on the mood of my lady. Her ups and downs are turning my life around. She's happy today, it's like a breath of new life. But tomorrow her sorrow will tear me down. Slowly, oh slowly, I can't tell that she needs me. It shows right through the walls she's built around herself. Oh higher, I'm climbing in her eyes. It's a servant she wants, but a man she must have. Oh woman, I need you like I never needed anyone. Oh woman, like the morning needs the sun. Oh woman, you know that our lives have just begun. I believe, oh woman, because I'm your slave. Okay, whatever. Overall, the song doesn't make as big of an impression as the previous two did, but it's a great song, and I find it very catchy, just maybe not as memorable as some of their other material. Song doesn't fade out, but instead it just kind of abruptly ends, and that might be fine, so take that for what you will. But yeah, Oh Woman, not a bad song. Now we come to track 4, which is Find My Fortune. And it begins with a very slow and laid back and mellow synthesizer intro and begins shortly after proper. It's rather slow pace, however, if one really listens closely, they might notice something is a little bit off. Yeah, Mike doesn't actually sing this one. Gary Richrath does. And this is essentially the beginning of an era where Gary would occasionally pick up the microphone. Now, as for his vocal ability, he's not bad. He's certainly better than I am. But I think the point that I'm trying to make is after the departure of Cronin, they made a point. They made a statement of bringing in a new lead vocalist. So why give the microphone to their guitarist? I mean, he's a far better guitarist than he is a singer. This can't be some kind of arrangement like they had with Bruce Hall, where Bruce would sing the songs that he wrote, because Gary writes like 60% of this album, yet only sings this one song. Why this one song? I don't know. It's quite odd, but this would continue on through Lost in a Dream. This Time We Mean It, and the REO album where he actually sang half the album. I'll get to that later. But as previously stated, the song does kind of move along with kind of a staccato rhythm And it's again a good song, but not the most memorable. I do have to say that I do kind of like the chorus, because he's gone away to find his fortune. It's been a long, long way from that little town to L.A., and I can't turn around, ladies. I'm gone away to find my fortune. That was my best. There is some great keyboarding in the song, and while it's one of the more laid-back songs from the album, it does get my endorsement. It's a must-hear in my opinion. The last song from side 1 is going to be Open Up. And if you are an obsessive nerd like I am, you'll notice that no one in the band wrote this. Instead, it's written by Stephen Stills. Yes, that's Stephen Stills. Now, I've done some research. And apparently this is a reworking of a song called No, You Got to Run that Stephen Stills wrote. However, this song has a much different arrangement, overall tone, and style. I mean, the original was a folk song, and this is not a folk song. The song itself is much faster, but it's still one of the more laid-back numbers. It still has that bluesy, folksy feel behind it, and I can easily appreciate that, even though I'm really more of a fan of hard rock. There's some great background vocals on this one. Whoever is doing it sounds good on this one. This is another song that most casual fans have probably forgotten about, but it's another one that I think is really worthy of another listen. And as per usual, Gary's ending guitar solo is electric and epic on all levels. My only complaint is, again, the song just starts fading out as the solo starts cranking up. I mean, it had me. And then it just ended. Why? Ugh, frustrating. But still a great guitar solo. And that's going to conclude side 1. And my favorite from side 1 might shock some people. It's Whiskey Night. Yeah, not the title track. Had this been the live version of the title track, it easily would have been my favorite song, but I think I do prefer Whiskey Night over the studio version. I'm only counting studio versions here. So I'm going to shift this over to side number 2. And side number 2 begins with the song Movin', which was written by Kevin Cronin. All right. Apparently he wrote this song before he was ejected from the band, and I suppose they just decided to keep it. All right. Apparently, Cronin never harbored any ill will towards them as he rejoined the band 3 years later, but yeah, this is quite the interesting bit of trivia right there. I have never once heard a version of this song with Cronin singing, and I've always been interested to know what it would have sounded like, but we did get versions of Cronin singing the title track and a song I'm about to talk about in a little bit, so if you know of any occasion where he did sing it, please inform me. Now, as for the song itself, it begins very soft and again is led by the synth or the organ. But shortly after the little intro, it does pick up again, and it doesn't really, and even though it doesn't really give the high energy that many of his other songs have, and to be honest, his lead vocals are very much missing on this one. This one's kind of laid back and mellow, and I really think the song would have been better had Kevin sang it, but it's okay. The female backup singers are still blatantly apparent, and they're just like, moving, and in a way, it almost sounds like something Pink Floyd would utilize. Feel free to disagree with me there, but I stand by that. Now, the song sounds a lot different than most of the compositions that Cronin has composed, so I'm assuming that maybe the band made lots of changes to it in terms of style and atmosphere. I don't know. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but I'm just not hearing a lot of Kevin Cronin on this one. There's a decent organ solo in the middle, and Neal, again, is giving a great performance, by the way. He's really on top notch. But overall, not a bad song, but as per usual, I just think Kevin's a better singer. So track 2 is next. This is called Son of a Poor Man. And this is considered by many to be the second greatest song from the album. and it's really not hard to see why. This is the other song where there exists another version with Cronin on lead vocals, but I'm not reviewing that. I'm just letting you know that it exists. Now, in concert, or on those other versions, we get a very rock and roll inspired guitar solo at the beginning, and it was definitely recorded during the sessions, but I guess they cut it for some reason that I can't explain. It's like, and then the song just starts as it does on the album with and it's very upbeat. It has a rock and roll boogie feel to it, and I really love that. And yeah, this song is really catchy. This is the kind of song that just makes me feel good about life, and I think it's heavy enough, all things considered, and for REO Speedwagon. But yeah. Hometown lady, leaving for the city, bags in hand, she's boarding the train. Her last look through the window, I saw her eyes were as red as mine. I waved goodbye, but I can't believe she's leaving. But a woman can't be high class in a lonely farmer's town, and the son of a poor man may not turn your head around. But if you ever get lonely, just pick up the telephone, and the son of a poor man will bring you home. Okay, that's enough for that. I've heard them play this song many times. And I should take the term them very loosely because the version of REO Speedwagon I saw only had one member from this album, that of course being Neal Doughty. But in the middle, again, there's a great guitar solo from Gary. He continues to amaze everyone, and the vibe of this song is really what I was looking for. Murphy's vocals are competent, but yeah, if you hear the version with Cronin singing, it's, again, no contest to me. The Cronin version is better, so take that for what you will. But, yeah, Son of a Poor Man is a great song. So, next one is Start a New Life, written by Gary. I guess this is the big power ballad from the album, and I did very much put that in quotation marks, but it's very slow and melodic, and has some very mellow guitar playing and a piano in the background. This is the kind of song that's trying to elicit the emotions, and it kind of works, but REO Speedwagon would achieve much better success with this approach a few albums later. To me, at least, this has always been one of the more disposable songs from the album, and I don't mind it, but again, it's not one that I'm really dying to hear at any point in my life. Now, granted, it does pick up considerably the last minute, and it really sounded like the band was about to start jamming, and I got really excited the first time I heard it, but unfortunately, again, the song just ends, it just fades out, so we never quite got that. But, not a bad song. I just like others better. Okay, the ninth song is It's Everywhere, and once again it's written by, well, Cronin. And I'm glad there were no hard feelings when he rejoined 3 years later, but yeah, that's a little awkward. This song sounds more akin to me like classic REO Speedwagon. It's heavier, it's faster, it's more upbeat, and man, I love the opening guitar. That's the best I can hum, but looking for a love, searching everywhere. I can get enough and I don't really care. It takes a lot of waiting because I've got the time to spare. It's going to take a lot more loving. We got plenty of that around here. And there's another verse, but the chorus I actually do kind of like, even though it slows down. I can see it, but I know when it's there, I can just feel it. It's everywhere. Now again, the chorus does slow a bit, but it really does work in this case, and the song maintains the strong rhythm and catchiness that I have really come to like about these guys. So I do like this song a lot better than Movin', and again, it's one that not too many fans know a whole lot about. Even Mike Murphy, as many criticisms as I have given against him, he's really great here, and he really pulls it off this time. So yeah, the closing track to the album is called Without Expression, Don't Be That Man. It is written by Terry Reid, who I don't know much about the fellow, to be perfectly honest, but I've done a little bit of research, and it seems this song is also a cover, and the original was released in 1968, but it's been covered by many other artists, such as the likes of the Hollies. I don't know a lot about them. Crosby, Still, Nash and Young, and even John Mellencamp. Okay? It has been released under varying titles also, so I'm guessing that some of these cover artists put their own spin on the song, and which meant that when releasing it, it didn't make a lot of sense, or it was nonsensical to release it under its original name. I don't know, but I honestly don't care that much. Now, the beginning of the song is, at least to me, it's very mellow and kind of reminiscent of Breakaway, which would appear on a few albums later, or I should say that Breakaway sounds more like Without Expression, as this came out first. Very slow, it almost sounds country-like, which is not fully the best combination that I'm all that giddy about, but it's there, and so there we go on that. But it's very acoustically based. It kind of sounds like, or reminds me of two cowboys singing it while riding their horses out on the prairie. So that's just the feel that I got from this, and feel free to disagree. I think it does slightly get more upbeat as the song gets moving along, and I did appreciate that. But still, it's unfortunately one of the weaker songs from the album, but I still like it. And having said that, I'm still not the biggest fan of the outro, or the song where we just have the female backup vocalist just going, "Don't be that man, don't be that man, don't be that man." I just never really liked that arrangement. That's just my taste, but you can like that or not. But Mike, again, I think does give a competent performance here, and overall the song is solid, but far from their best. So, wrapping all this up, what do I think is my favorite from side 2? I'm going with Son of a Poor Man. I have always loved that song. I still like it on this album. I like the live versions, and I pretty much like every incarnation of this song. So, Son of a Poor Man is my favorite from side 2. It's Everywhere would probably be second place, but there are no points for second best, so unfortunately, It's Everywhere is going to miss out. So I'm going to zoom out there and flip this around. That was my review of Riding the Storm Out. And I had a great time talking to you guys, and thank you all for joining me. Anyways, we just figured out how to ride out the storm. But I want to now find the root cause of the storm and what brought it. So we'll take a look at that next time. But until then, have a very pleasant evening.